Hello everyone, I am James.
And I'm Cloud.
Today we are going to explain about environmental, economic, and societal issues on material science. Material science is a very broad topic to be discussed. Today we are going to focus more on a beverages container because beverages containers are manufactured using different types of materials which can give us an apple-to-apple comparison between each materials. Beverages containers can be found with different types of materials. Some of them are plastic glass bottles, and others are also aluminum cans. All of these containers are different to each other from its properties, manufacturing process, and even recycling processes. Today, first, we are going to talk about glass bottles. Glass bottles are made from silica sand. It is manufactured by melting sand, soda ash, limestone, and other ingredients. It is melted in a furnace at 700 degrees Celsius, and then it is blown manually into a bottles or its desired shape. Its recycled ability is also infinite, which means it doesn't experience degradation. So the glass bottles, when recycled, can be manufactured infinite times. Next, we have the plastic bottles. The classic plastic bottles. Plastic bottles are manufactured commonly using PET plastic or polyethylene terephthalate, uh, and which is based from the petroleum byproduct terephthalic acid and ethylene glycol. Plastic bottles are manufactured mainly through injection molding and stretch blow molding. The process is first that we have the preformed plastic bottle is formed through injection molding, which then is heated and blown in a mold until it expands to the desired shape, or in this case, a bottle. Now, in the case for its recyclability, it is finite, which means it can't be recycled infinitely because it experiences what's called thermal degradation. And by manufacturers, plastic itself is usually recycled only once or twice, and usually it can't be recycled to a bottle again, and it's downgraded to other plastic shapes or products. Next, and finally, we have we have the aluminum cans. The raw aluminum comes from bauxite ore. The aluminum is extracted from the ore and refined, what is called the Bayer and Hall-Herold process. The aluminum is then formed into tin sheets. Then the tin sheets are shaped for creating the body of the cans and then put together into one piece. Now, same as the glass, the recyclability of the aluminum cans can be recycled infinitely, which means it doesn't experience degradation. Next.
So the next one is for the advantages and the disadvantages for each bottle types. So for the delivery issue, like logistical issue, plastic bottles is one of the most easiest one to transport because the bottle itself is elastic. When there's a bump, the plastic bottle will return to original shape. So it is less likely to be damaged when being transported. The next one is aluminum cans. Aluminum cans can be easily bent, but in this case, because there is the liquid inside the beverage, it will help the aluminum can to hold its shape. Then, aluminum cans can be easily stacked too when transporting. And it is quite stable because the bottom of aluminum cans uh, match with the other top of aluminum can, which makes it less likely to topple over. But for the hardest one to transport is the glass bottles because glass bottles is very fragile and also it's heavy. Uh, because glass bottle is fragile, it is needed to be delivered with care. Also, delivering glass bottles is a bit complex because it requires like crates to make it to avoid it to be damaged when being transported. And also the glass bottles itself is the heaviest one compared to aluminum cans and also plastic bottles. Then the next one is in terms of practicality. In terms of practicality, the plastic bottles is the most practical one because uh, plastic beverage bottles can come with different sizes and portions. So it gives a lot of options for people who want to buy a certain beverage. Also, for plastic bottles, they have a screwable cap on top, which makes it possible to store in like a backpack or maybe like carrying it around without it spilling. But for some glass bottles, they don't have a screwable cap. They have a cap that is designed to be opened once, and once it's open, it can't be closed again, which makes the glass bottle not resealable. This is impractical because you cannot store your drink inside a backpack or carrying it around safely. For opening it also requires a bottle opener too, which is impractical. And the next one is the aluminum cans. Aluminum cans is actually the same. It's not that practical because once you open the can, you have no way of resealing it again. Once it's open, you need to finish it. But the aluminum cans is much more lighter compared to glass bottle, which makes glass bottle is the most impractical one. Next, we are going to discuss on the issues like environmental issues, economic, and also societal issues. So for the economic issues, which one is the most cost-effective one from the beginning to the end of the bottle itself until it's recycled? So first, the most uh, cost-effective is the aluminum cans because aluminum cans can be easily recycled. And when aluminum cans is being recycled, it produces less carbon footprint compared to glass bottles and also plastic bottles. And aluminum cans, once it's recycled, it can be recycled again and again, like glass too. But for the plastic bottles, when the plastic bottles is being recycled, the material itself will degrade and it will not have a good property again. Then for the glass bottles, a glass bottle is quite expensive to manufacture too, because glass bottles is hard to produce because it requires high temperature, then shaping it too, which makes the a complex process. For the next one, for the plastic bottles, it is also quite complex manufacturing process, which makes it aluminum cans the cheapest one to manufacture. So for environmental issues, all of the bottles here creates pollution for manufacturing it and also recycling it. But aluminum cans are the most interesting one because when manufacturing aluminum cans, it produces a high amount of carbon footprint because aluminum is not found in pure ore. They are found in bauxite ore, which requires it to be refined and the aluminum to be purified. So you will get only the aluminum. But for recycling an aluminum can, it is the lowest energy compared to glass and also plastic. At here, plastic might be the most worst one on environmental impact because plastic is limited on recyclability because the plastic is degraded once it's recycled. Uh, and glass is actually kind of good on recyclability because it can be reshaped again into other products. Next, for societal issues. In here in Indonesia, people like to buy beverage using plastic bottles. And in Indonesia too, we don't have like a recycling plant or easily found a recycle plant for recycling plastic bottles, which makes a lot of plastic waste around. Then also, people tend to buy uh, beverages too, which makes this a kind of excessive plastic consumption, and it is not good for the environmental impact too.
So we have learned that no packaging type is without impact. However, we can reduce its impact through green design. Considering the entire life cycle of a product, its raw material extraction, manufacturing, transportation, usage, and end-of-life disposal or recycling. Material engineering may impact green design through what's called sustainability. Through sustainability, and material engineers can create materials that are more sustainable, such as recycled metals, biodegradable plastics, or even eco-friendly composites. These materials may reduce environmental impact and reduce resource depletion. Other material engineerings, material engineers can also impact through what's called energy efficient manufacturing. So material engineers may develop more manufacturing processes that consume less energy and produce fewer emissions, contributing to a lower overall core carbon footprint. For example, let's take the aluminum cans. The aluminum cans that we have explained has a smaller environmental impact than glass bottles. It is more lightweight, durable, and more easily recycled than glass or plastic bottles. And in the long term, it is more sustainable than any other materials that we have explained before. This is how material engineers may impact in green design. Thank you for your time and listening.